What's up, everybody? Yeah,
Yeah, y'all. They done switched up the whole plan with this. I don't have to switch, but I feel like I need to. I need to get my agua. And some of y'all might be saying, why don't you just have a filter? Why don't you use this? Why don't you use that? Let me tell you my quick answer to everybody's thoughts on modern water supply. First and foremost, probably the best water situation anyone could have to their home, both for drinking water, bathing water, food prep water, all the uses that we use for water, which of course we cannot live without. Okay? You can live with a lot of things, you can live without a lot of things, but you can't live without water, right? They say that's gonna be the number one reason for wars and other conflicts as we go. I heard it said the number one reason for wars in the future, which is now, because what Nipsey said, this was about 20 something years ago. He said it'd be water. And whether it's reported as such right now, that is the main reason for a lot of the conflicts you see going on. So, water's everything. That's the number one statement. But the main thing is, a lot of people say, stop buying bottled water because the plastic is, you're drinking plastic. You're drinking plastic. I understand the philosophy. I really do. And they talk about, it get
Heat it up, and then it cools down. It gets heated up again, and it gets cooled down, and get heated up again. Every time you change the molecular structure of that water, you're drinking the plastic. You're drinking plastic uh, bits and things of this nature, right? Like microbes that you can't see. It breaks down. This is all true that this can happen, right? But there's different types. First of all, there's different types of plastic. That's number one. So I forget the letters, but I looked it up. I looked all this stuff up. I'm talking about years ago. So I'm not a scientist. Once I hear a scientist tell me the facts and I can compare it to wisdom of things I've experienced or things I've seen with people who got sick or got better or caught cancers because of certain things and blah 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 blah, then I apply that you know hypothesis to life and say, oh, okay, there must be something to that. Okay, I would avoid that. It's just common sense. It's like, yo, you see something that ain't working, you leave it alone. When you see something that is working, you gravitate toward it. It's simple and plain, right? So I had a philosophy years ago, because of what I saw constantly with this thing about water. I say, man, when it comes to water, as I'm passing by a construction area right now, hold on, I'm gonna make my point. If I can flip the camera and show y'all my point real quick, it's right there to make my point, right there when I needed it, so I can say what I had to say about it. It's perfect. It don't get no better than what I'm about to show y'all. Just stay tuned. Got two in the bill. I need two thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button. I'm about to show you something. You want to see this? Okay. The goofies will leave because goofies do what they do, but the real one that stayed with me. Okay, so let me show y'all. Hold on. You see them pipes sticking up out the ground over there? What are they made out of? What are they made out of? Hmm? Plastic. Shit. They're made out of plastic. But those are the pipes that will be running into someone's home. Those are homes being built. Those are townhouses. Okay? That is somebody's future residence. Somebody's drinking supply. Just the same kind of pipes I got that run to my water supply, right? Same water that I wash with, bathe with, cook dinner with, whatever with, right? You see what I'm saying? So my point is, you're drinking out of plastic even if you have a filtration system. And most of the time, your filtration system is made of plastic. Oh my gosh, could we really seriously have this conversation? I'm serious because I had this conversation one time with somebody. It was a debate, unnecessary, but got into a debate on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was talking with some people and they were talking about this thing about water, about, we need to do away with all plastic. Plastic is the devil, this, that, and the other. I'm like, yo, I agree. Like, I wish the world was less plasticky. Make up a word, plasticky. But I'm gonna say, hey, show me where it's not, is my point. Like, Okay, so you go and get some expensive filtration system that has copper, which I find to be the best metal from my research that is being brought back, by the way, slowly but surely into homes and in the hospital. I read my dad wrote an article and sent it to me years ago. I mean, again, old news. This is all just if that was then, who knows what they've done since? But it was probably 15 years ago, and it was saying that they're starting to get rid of PVC piping and go back to copper because they know the health benefits of copper. Copper fights diseases naturally. It has some natural properties that do away with certain ailments just naturally, right? So they've been doing this for years, and it's old as Methuselah, as they would say, you know. And so if you know this, why the hell would anything not be that? Because people are greedy and they don't want to pay the cost of what the metal is, so they'll find something else they can produce cheaper and sell it to you and convince you that it's better for you or it's easier. And if they can make it easier and more cost effective, what do people do? Man, it's so expensive, man, so I'm gonna go with this. Simple and plain. It's very simple. It ain't nothing hard about it. Ain't no long ass equation. It's just people gonna go with the simpler thing. Now, why do I still deal with plastic for my water? Because, like I said, first of all, if I did have and I used to have a filtration system. I used to do filtration systems. I did everything from the one that was on you put it on the nozzle of your kitchen sink unit, and it goes through that. But in retrospect, that was plastic. It had some metal parts, but majority, 90% of that device was plastic. And even though some part of it that it went through would have been metal, and of course it was a carbon, what is it now, charcoal based, like most of them are, filtration system, and it show you the list of all the stuff it blocks out and all this stuff. You taste it, it wouldn't taste as bad. It get that, you know, that tap taste. It wouldn't taste as bad as it would if you just straight drank something straight from the faucet. But when I tell you, you can still taste that certain little flavor, and it's like, what is that? I don't like that. So that's all I needed to know. There's something still in it. Number one. So then I started doing stuff like I tried to boil water to get rid of it. Okay, now boiling they say is probably the only thing that really gets rid of stuff. But here we go again. Let's get deeper again, right? When you boil something, people act like science is magic, that it's not real. When you boil something, it evaporates into the air you're breathing. So now the plastic or whatever else you're trying to get out of the water is in the air in your home. And if you're anything like most people, if you're boiling some water to let it cool down, put it in the refrigerator overnight, get cool enough for you to drink whatever your flavor, whatever you like it, room temperature, whatever you like to do with it, you may put it in a copper thing after you finish. You may put it in a glass container. You do all this stuff to find it, put its final destination in something pure and supposed to be more healthy. Yes, it is by then. It is. That, I'm not gonna make you feel no worse about that. But I will tell you this: if you boiled it, you breathed the damn you just breathed all the chemicals and worried everything you was worried about went in your nostrils and your mouth when you was walking around in your place. Okay, it's in your atmosphere. There's no getting around. And then you say, no, it ain't, because I got a filtrate, I got a vent system, and I pull it out with my ventilation system. Okay, again, you can keep arguing all day about your water being the purest, as long as you're in a modern home or a modern apartment or townhouse or anything like that, most likely, unless you were over the construction site and chose the materials and made sure when it came off the truck, you was there every day of them hammering and nailing. You watch what they put in your house. You watch what they did to the pipes. You watch what they did to everything that has something to do with what you gonna drink or bathe with or eat, cook with. You don't know. And I promise you, it was some fucking plastic ass PVC pipes running underground because it's standard issue throughout the industry. And once an industry is established, it's hard to change that. It's sad to say, but unless you're a multimillionaire and can demand and pay the extra cost to have somebody even check that, like that's their job, just to make sure that they brought. Okay, we saw Mr. Wheeler. There were plastic. They had plastic first, and we fired everybody on that crew, and we got you a new crew, and they came out with copper only, and we had those installed in the ground and everything like that. Otherwise, guess what? You drinking out some damn plastic. Get over yourself.
What's up, everybody? Back again. What's happening? All right, so I got me a little thing over the top of my phone, trying to keep the heat off it because the heat is on. The heat is on. I was listening to this song. The beat goes on. I'm switching up the lyrics for you, cause the heat is on. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I don't know if we're gonna get any more serious enough cold snaps at this point. I think it's gonna be one of them years where spring come in quick, fast, and strong, and just hold strong. Like maybe some cool evenings, some cool mornings, but I think the daytime about to get sure enough warmish to hot. Because for us to already be hitting damn near 80, if it ain't 80, let me check this temperature. It was 76, 77. See what I'm saying? It's 409, 77. Hello? Yeah, yeah. It's real out here, y'all. It's damn near 80 degrees out here. It feels like 80 with a breeze. It's nice with the breeze. If it wasn't for the breeze, I wouldn't even have a shirt on. I would just have on a t-shirt and be like, whatever, it's my time, you know.
For me, it's summer weather when I'm just wearing nothing but a t-shirt. You know, t-shirt, Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh yeah, yo yo yo. So, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, we back, we back. Yeah, did my little recycling thing. Something I try to do as much as possible. I've been doing it for years, actually, for years. And I found out in the last 5 years from talking to somebody that I knew who used to do disposal for a lot of the metro area big accounts for apartments and stuff. They said, man, they don't recycle that stuff. I said, what? All that cardboard and everything, glass and all that stuff? They don't recycle that stuff. They take it straight to the dump. They just put it in a different. It just makes it easier for them to have all that in one thing versus mixed in with all the bags and every stuff. I said, man, that pissed me off so bad because some people are we out here trying to do what we know is better for the world, for the ecosystem, for everything. And there are those organizations that are legit. They truly do recycle what they receive. They truly do break it down and turn it into other things and everything like that. And then there's all this other nonsense, right? So, man, I mean, there's even places like I discovered this recently. I mean, I knew this always existed, but I didn't realize how big a business this was. But places that will, recycle different metals. I mean, everything from aluminum, steel, uh, like tin cans and all that, of course. But this place I'm talking about, they don't do that little lightweight stuff. They ain't about no damn tin cans and stuff. They do, like, you got a metal device that they can strip loose all the parts that they can't use and melt it down. That's what they do. And I was like, whoa, okay. And they pay you per pound. Whatever the price of aluminum is, whatever the price of copper is, whatever the price of whatever metal, steel, etc. So, yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I see now. I see why you see people sometimes running around and they just seem like they just a junk man with a whole bunch of stuff on the back. No, man, they making money off that stuff. People who will go out and clear up a highway after an accident, like, you should clear it up anyway, but these people can't wait to see that because they're like, oh man, go over there and get everything, get all the different pieces and all that stuff and take it straight to the dump place and get something for it. Cash too. Yeah, everything's cash. These are cash businesses. So, there's a whole nother reality to some of this stuff. I think about games like, you see that game that got so popular, Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders is it's a fantasy completely to most people, but there's people who live that life without it being apocalyptic and shit. Like, that's really what some folks can do to make a little something. They get salvaged parts and stuff and do all kinds of stuff. That is big business. Big business. And it's just all psychological where some people just think, first thing they think is, oh, trash this, trash that. Or want to make fun of somebody who does that for money. It's like, okay, well, if you're sitting somewhere in a cubicle or you're at somebody's retail store and they paying you just over minimum wage per hour versus somebody knows where scrap metal legally, okay, we ain't talking about none of that other craziness to be going on out here, but I'm saying legally get some scrap stuff, right? Some stuff that's just trash somewhere that ain't nobody else thinking about, ain't nobody else using, but they can turn it into $1. I promise you they making more than you per hour, and they working less in the day when they have a good day. Now the thing about it, that life though, I will say this, I know, it ain't guaranteed. It's very iffy and chancy depending on how deep people are in. I'm just getting hip to this stuff, and do a wheel that got damaged on my vehicle, and instead of just trying to find somewhere to dump it for nothing, no, I found out a place that will buy it, and they buy it, and they paid me $11 cash. I got $11 cash versus zero. Because let's just be real, like, once it's trash to you, it's zero value at that point. But guess what? That's still worth something. It's metal. Yeah. You know, one damaged wheel. Think about how many times you pass by, see a wheel off on the side of the road, or a big old frame of a bumper or something, and it's metal, and you just pass right by it like, yeah, that's sad. Somebody had an accident. Now, after that moment, I be thinking, can I fit that in the back? Let me show you. Can I fit that? Because if I can lift it, yo, hell, the heavier the better. Because like I said, they pay by the weight. Woo, let me find a 50 pounds something out there on the highway. Man, okay, all right. I ain't going to be worrying about no courier work today. I'm going to relax for a change. Maybe I will go fishing or what. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just sharing some thoughts. That's all. Just sharing some thoughts, y'all. Sharing some thoughts. Somebody need to hear that today. Somebody need to think outside the box today, because they don't think outside the box usually, you know. So I showed you the box. Now I'm gonna put you outside it. What you think? All right. Now. Yep. It's a whole other worlds out here. Whole other worlds. Arc raiders. I think I want to play that game though. I only got one. Well, I tell you, I got about 2 friends right now that I know are probably already playing it, and I know they would be down to play because they about that game in life. That's their getaway. That's their total escapism. That's what they do, and they are really into it. So I know if I hit them up, pardon the yarn, man. I was thinking I was all right. Like, what the hell? I'll get some. Out of nowhere, I was doing all right with no yarns. That was yesterday. Yesterday was all yarny, but I admit I was tired yesterday. I think I was more tired than I think I was, because what happens is, like, sleep is not like, you miss a day where you didn't get your full sleep, you miss another day where you didn't get your full sleep, then you get another day where you did get decent sleep, then you get another day where you got okay sleep. Guess what? Them 2 days where you didn't get good sleep, they haunt your ass. This is what I've learned about rest. It come back. It don't be, I wasn't sleepy then, but now I'm okay. No. Every day, every hour you miss, you pay for it later. This is why old people be sleeping all the damn time. They like cats. They just sit in the chair and they fall out. You know what I'm saying? Grandpa and all them older men, if you look lucky to have some people in your life that's older, that's why they sleep all the time. Years. And some of them can't sleep at night, so they got to sleep in the day. They get a bunch of little cat naps and add them all together and get what would be a decent amount of sleep for any normal human being. Which for me is like anything 6 plus. 6 is the minimum, man. I need that 6. Got to get that 6 hours at least. In my experience. Man, there I go again. What time? Oh, it's the time too. This time of day is always between 3 and the 4 o'clock hour. I don't know what it is. I just a scientific thing about it. I forget the name of it. I saw somebody break it down one time. Truth is, in America, our schedule is not normal. The fact we don't have any time of the day where we take true breaks, you got to, if you just, fuck it, I ain't doing that, I'll do it anyway. Okay, great. But if you don't have that kind of situation where you have to work and you don't get breaks and everything, man, I'm telling you, it works on you. This stuff works on us, people. And it's constantly working on us. That's why I'm young. That's why I'm young. We're supposed to get naps. As adults, we think that when you become they broke it down and made us feel like, oh, you're immature, you're not grown because adults don't take naps. That's not true. I remember a scientist I think it was on NPR, I heard this years ago. He was breaking down the science that everybody is supposed to take naps. We just don't, because of these different economies that we're part of that force us to believe we're being less productive if we naturally get drowsy at times in the day. You're supposed to take naps all your life. Can you imagine that? If we worked in a system that allowed everybody to do that in America, because I know there's places in the world where, yeah, that's normal. People go home in the middle of the day, they see their family, they catch a nap, they eat, they do all this stuff. Like, they get like 2 hours or even longer. I forget what I've heard about some of these schedules. And then they come back to work and they ready to go. Hell yeah, they ready to go. Shit, man, I've been around my people. I've been around the reason I'm out here working. So I'm motivated. Like, yeah, man, my wife fix me a good meal. You know, if you got kids, you got to hug up on the kids, send them back to school. Maybe you and the wife there alone for a minute. Y'all do some you and the wife things, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you go back to work ready to kill everything. You serious about finishing up and making your money. You gonna be about it. Because you had the proper wind down and refresh. You know what I mean? Something to think about, man. We getting the lower end of the stick all the time with this bullshit. They gotta work all day, 8 hours or more. This is crazy. Crazy. How about 6 and 2? 2 in the middle, you know, for yourself, and 6 at the job, and then everything within reason too. Because the other thing is these situations I'm talking about is where people live close enough to their jobs. In America, you ain't always got that. You ain't always got that luxury. You know, some Americans can't even understand what I'm talking about right now because all their life they've been spoiled and don't even realize they spoiled. That they always were able to work within 30 minutes of their dwelling, their living. That ain't how it is for a whole lot of black folk, especially in America. Okay? Man, please, we go where the work is and where the work fits us. You know? You live on one side of town, you work everywhere. Like, even what I be doing when I do courier work, I work in my neighborhood, I work in 3 other neighborhoods that border that neighborhood. And when I say neighborhood, it's really not even neighborhood, it's more like area, because there's neighborhoods within the chunks of areas I'm describing. Like there's districts, if you will. And I might work like 4 related bordering districts, one I live in, plus go outside of that and go into the town, go into the show enough city, sometimes get work because, hell, if I can't find enough stuff that makes sense where I'm at, then like bump it. I get on. That's when I deal with VHO. There's a little courier note to anybody out there doing courier work. You know, y'all heard me say, you know, I deal with Wally World, so it ain't nothing new, you know. Do their app mostly because it pays direct and immediately. The VHO thing pays within 4 days of you doing the work. But bills don't be caring about, well, see, I work and I'm about to get paid. If you could just wait one more day, I'll have the money. They be like, I don't give a damn about your schedule. They don't care at all. Your lights go out, your damn sink water go off, your everything, you know what I mean? Man, please, can't play with it. You gotta have it, right? So I mostly deal with the ones that pay direct and fastest. Then, of course, I do my background and stand in and, Lord, you know, universe blessed, mess around and get a speaking role. Still in the film biz, coming back hard into that. Got goals with that, you feel me? Never giving up on goals with that. Back in it, back at it. Like I said, like I joked about it a few weeks ago when I said, yo, man, I'm like John Wick. You know, people keep asking if I'm back. Yeah, I'm guessing I'm back. You know, it's like, damn right, I'm back, baby. I'm back. So, you know, you put in for some things, you might get that. That stuff comes when you least expect it sometimes. You get that wonderful email saying you've been booked. And you know you're going to go on that particular day or whatever. All right, so cool, you got that going on. But then again, that's another check you're waiting on. That don't come immediately. Hell, I'm waiting on one right now. Got something recently that reminded me of how long you had to wait typically. And it wasn't too bad. I give them credit. It's been way worse in the past. I done waited a month for something. Ridiculous, right? Hell, I done waited 2 months. I done waited and never got it. That only happened like once in all my years, but I'll never forget it. I'll never forget when that happened. It was a $5 million, what they consider low budget TV pilot for a show. And they never paid us. A lot of us, I asked a lot of friends who had been on it, I said, man, did you ever get? Nope. I said, mother suckers. They got us. Yeah, man, they got us. I was like, damn. That never happened. That never. I've had a situation where you thought it was going to happen because you just, why ain't I got my, you call them up, you know, ready to cuss them out, and they be like, oh, I'm so sorry, we'll check on, let me see here. Okay, we're going to have to put in this, that, and the other and make sure we get that to you, and you had to fill out some BS form like you ain't already done all that. You know, they got you done. Somebody didn't do their job, lost some paperwork, that process starts from, sometimes bad PAs. And having been a PA, I know how serious you better take that when you're dealing with people's paperwork. And then you got situations where people don't fill out their paperwork right. Now, I always made sure I did, but I know it happens, right? And they knew they had my stuff. They just, somebody lost something, somebody didn't report something, somebody didn't put it in right, somebody didn't. So they didn't, and it was like, it wasn't just me. It was like I found out, because in the system you're in with that, you call around, you talk to your friends, hey man, did you get yours? No, damn. So you gotta really, like they say, dot your I's, cross your T's, man. You gotta dot your I's and cross your T's. But I done figured it out for this particular time. After all these years of doing it, like, I always put the job that pays you the quickest first. Because at the end of the day, your bills don't care about none of your damn dreams and shit. They just gonna, they'll have your ass under where you can't play with these idiots about that. So put that one first. Then whatever's the next fastest to pay or whatever, put that one next, and then put whatever, and then everything just trickles down from there. But the beauty about doing this, what I'm doing right now, is I can go live any time of day, just about, in between the work. Sometimes even I'll go live on set if I feel like it, and if I'm in an environment where I can, because you can't do that on every set. That's there's rules to it. But you pick and choose the right place to do it. Like when I was on the court show the other week, I was on divorce court. They told us, they was like, we want y'all to promote on your social media because that helps our numbers. So tell people, tell your family, tell your friends you're gonna be on TV and it's about to be live. We got 2 live shows today. We did 8 shows, 2 of which were live. So imagine, you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay. So I went on and did a quick video, put it up. That got some hundreds. Out of them hundreds, hundreds, somebody went and looked at the dang show. Feel me? So that's how that worked. It works in their favor too. They know that. They smart enough to understand the biz of how making their numbers go up, because they got hundreds of people per week coming and doing that audience. So of course they want you to promote it. It's like, come on, that's easy. That's unpaid, but yet in a way paid. You paid to be there, but they don't have to pay you extra to do that. And that's technically work. You're promoting. You self-promoting, but you're promoting them at the same time. So they love it. Hell yeah, it's like, yeah, shout us out. Let your friends know, let everybody know. Boom. Just like that. You feel? Smart business, y'all. Smart business. Smart business. It's the only business. Only real business. It's actually warm out here, y'all. I can't believe how warm it is right now. It's apple time. So side note, y'all, for those who really follow the content, I've been playing God of War. And I gotta say, in an early review, I haven't finished the game. I'm not talking about the first series, even though I do plan to hopefully get, I want to get God of War 3, because when I looked at all of them, 1 and 2 had cool story and of course acting. But 3 was more the complete package. So I think I want to get 3. Plus, I saw that you can get it for affordable prices online. You can find it used if you just want just the disc. But I don't want it. I want the whole thing. I don't mind it used as long as it's in great shape. So I'm gonna have to find it. I might mess around and look up on it at the Goodwill. Go to Goodwill and start digging into games. And that's how you mess around and find the first one and the second one and can pay less than $4 for it or something. Okay, Problem is, I don't know. No, I couldn't play them. PS5 can only play back. It can only go in reverse to PS3, I think. So maybe 2. I think the second one was on 3, but I know the first one was on like 2, I think. Which like I said, I don't care about playing those anyway. That's not important. I've watched other people's playthroughs, and if I look at that and I don't get excited to want to play it, I know I don't want to play it. I know myself. If I don't look at the playthrough and get like, oh snap, I want to do this. I don't even want to watch nobody else do it. I mean, I don't mind watching, but I would love to do this. I want to play. So 3 is like that. I watched 3. I was like, yeah, I'll play this. I think the thing that was so dynamic about 3 is the god battles. Like you fighting like the giant titans and stuff, like the huge characters, and you're fighting on their bodies. They're so big. There's a room inside of them, or they pick up something and hold it, and you're like this little in it side of it, fighting some other little stuff. Like, oh, this is dope. This is like surrealism to the max. This is like a dream. This is a nightmare and a dream and a fantasy and check off the check marks. Like this is crazy dope. This is real fantasy. And that's when I got more excited about the remake. Because with the technology they have now and the graphics they have now, if they stick to that level of large scale, huge, unexpected vastness and turning of the camera in like crazy directions, and you still fighting in the midst of a floor that's doing like this, or some world is twirling it. Man, oh my gosh, the level of fun that game is gonna be when they finally release the remake of the trilogy. And the fact that they're saying trilogy makes it like, yo, are they literally gonna give us like one complete game, then a part 2, then a part 3? Man, you talking about something that could have us bugging from like, if I had to guess when it'll be out, it's 26, 27, 28, 29, then 30, 31, then 32, 33. Like by year 2020, 2030 something, you might just be getting to the end of the trilogy if they really do it the way they're talking about a remake. Like, can you imagine and I mean, by the time our PlayStation 6 is out and whatever Xbox does, I mean, who cares? Because this is a PlayStation game. No offense to Xbox people. I'm a PlayStation guy. I got nothing against Xbox, really. I chose what I chose a long time ago and stuck with it. You know what I'm saying? And it always had more games that I liked. You know, there've been some things that came out Xbox that made me really jealous. Like, damn, so that's an exclusive, eh? So what you're telling me is I gotta get an Xbox too, and I never did it because it's too expensive. These damn systems expensive as hell. So it was whatever. So anyway, I would like to play some of their games, like I say, but it came down to PlayStation was winning, and as you can see, they still winning with talking about they're gonna do this remake. That's about to be heavy duty, major business, and I look forward to it. I think it's gonna be great, amazing. Between that and Cyberpunk 2, man, I'm good. Like I already done said, like when Wolverine come out this fall, that's gonna carry me for I don't know how long. I don't need nothing else. You know, I'll just be playing that pretty much. And whenever I get my hands on Tekken 8, I guess that'll, hold me together a little bit too. If they mess around and drop a Soul Calibur on us out of nowhere, usually they do that. Whenever you think they sleeping, they'll come back with another Soul Calibur. I'm pretty sure they're working on it right now. I guarantee you they're gonna do another Soul Calibur. It's just too much of a big franchise. It's like, why sleep on that? Why drop that? Go ahead and make that money too. So I'm thinking they'll do that. But there's so many new games and new concepts, which I really love. And I want some of these ones, even now mentioning, like, the next Tekken needs to be something extra special, man. We can't keep repeating the exact same formula. I love the game. I'm not saying don't stop making it Tekken, but like all the breakaways, like when you smash through a floor and fall down to another section and all that, we've been saying for years, that's where fighting games need to go. They need to go where you literally have an open world environment, and depending on how much you battle it out over that environment, you could end up, you're in a beach area. You end up going up the beach. Now you're inside of a resort on the beach, tearing up the ballroom in the atrium. You smash through a restaurant. You get on the elevator. You know what I mean? Can you imagine like if they really made it like that? Like how dope that would be. You know. And since everybody's so addicted to multiplayer, imagine there being an environment. You know where I'm going with this, right? You know where I'm going with this. Imagine there being a map where, like, literally, if you start a battle, and of course your damn health bar would have to be ridiculous to battle that long, but you could end up like encountering other players and get into their battle. But because you're on a certain team, y'all. Yo, as I often say when I do lives, as I often say when I do lives, this is where I brainstorm a lot, you know. And what I'm talking about right now, yo, this would literally be the future of fighting games as we know it. Of course, you also could add in the far ultimate level of virtual reality. And we've seen movies where, I'm trying to remember the name of this movie as I say this, there was a movie that came out many years ago. I want to say it was just named something simple like Gamer or something, but it was a kid in the future where virtual reality games had reached a point where you go into little deathmatch fighting games where if you don't have the skills to survive, you literally could die while playing the game. It's like being in the Matrix. Like you go under with a head device connected to your brain that transports you into the game where you feel the physical blows. Like somebody hits you, you feel like you've been hit. Somebody, do anything to you, you feel it. And people go in and have these big battle royals and they wear these, combat suits and stuff, the characters, and they fight against all these other characters and everything. But the other characters, everybody from a kid at home, and these were like all the rich kids, it made sense for where games are going with the expensive stuff. It's like only if you were wealthy could you even play the games, but then you might play against hardened criminals, other members of society on the lower end of economic spectrum, so to speak, retired military folk, all kinds of stuff, but they were like competing, of course, for money. It's always a money element to it. If people gonna spend this much time doing something, and they train for it just like they train for any other sport. It's like it's a serious sport type thing, and they go in and compete. Oh man, I cannot remember what that game was. I gotta remember this game, y'all. I mean, what movie this was? It was about a game. I can't remember the name of it. It's got me, but I almost want to watch it again now. Like, it wasn't bad either. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. It was okay. It was a decent. It was one of those movies that conceptually was so freaking cool that you let it ride on everything else that was weak. You just like, whatever, man. This idea is so good. I'm with it. This is cool. I did some quick research, y'all. I couldn't find it, but I think it was Gamer. I did see Gamer, but I need to watch the trailer, and I couldn't do that now anyway. But I wanted to see. I think the movie was Gamer, and what it was is the kid takes the role of a man who's a criminal, a convict for a crime he didn't commit or some shit like that. Typical kind of plot, and you're fighting against other convicts, but you take on their body and their strengths. And you make them do whatever you want from the virtual head unit. But the guy who's being controlled is actually a real human being. That's what it was, if I remember right. And so I looked it up. It had Terry Crews, it had Ludacris in it, it had all these other people. And I was like, I'll be damn, that is something. I think that's it. I just got to see the trailer to remember if that's the movie. But anyway, this came out before, if I remember right, before Ready Player One. Because I know some of y'all may have been yelling that the whole time. Like, you Ready Player One? No, it's not Ready Player One. Because in Ready Player One, everybody was Poe, except for the corporation at the top type players. But most of the world were all these poor folk that were playing the game. You know what I mean? And they playing for money because it's like the game is the biggest way to make money and stuff and all this kind of stuff. But I really do think we're headed towards something like that. I hate to say it, but I think that if some of these crazy ass people who would vote for the kind of nonsense we got running this regime right now that is taking over. If you really like that kind of BS, guess who's gonna be first to be controlled and be a convict in this in somewhere in a barbed wire camp and everything. Like, it won't just be, all the people you didn't agree with because you called them woke, and they over here saying, yeah, I'm woke. I'm woke enough to know that we was headed to fucking hell on earth, you idiot. But y'all don't listen. Like, if we don't get that if we don't knock that kind of craziness out of power and decision making, you literally will live your worst nightmare. What is entertainment now will become your reality. It's the reason why cyberpunk is such an important genre to me. I'm getting to the point where I still say I do like the genre, but it's hard to say you like something that's becoming so real. It ain't a lot about that reality to like, but it's a lot about the fantasy to enjoy, as long as it's held at bay of its worst stuff ever becoming your reality. But the closer you become to that being something that you have to live, man, that ain't no fun. That's not a game you want to play or be in. You know what I mean? But and all I can say is there's just people out here who ain't lived either have not lived enough pain, because they do live pain, or they've never experienced that kind of stuff. So it's all trivial to them, and they don't care who else is hurt for their entertainment as long as they get the entertainment. So that's the kind of society and cultural stuff that these movies talk about. They literally show you what happens when people stop giving a damn about each other's, no empathy in the world for the most part. Everybody's just out for themselves, and everybody wants their credits to live a fancy life, but at the expense of who else, and the expense of continued chaos. Because the more people, when there's more have-nots and less haves, then there's always going to be conflict. There's always going to be more crime. There's always going to be more danger and less peace of mind. But you can convince an idiot that has only seen it one way that, oh, what are you talking about? I'll always be protecting it. And where that comes from is them not having to do any of the things that the everyday people have done that will wake you up to how easy it is for your stuff to get infiltrated. I mean, how many movies had to be made for a fool to realize nobody's untouchable? Like, everybody's connected and no one is untouchable. We're all, and I don't mean that just in a, F around and find out you can get what's coming to you way, of it always being violence and all that. I don't mean it just like that. I'm saying, yeah, that's a reality to it too, but more importantly, you're affected. Like, if people who labor, even the people who make the robots that are going to take the jobs, people have this perception that the only people doing those jobs are highly, certain type of educated, because there's different levels of education. So I don't even want to make it about, one person's understanding of certain things being so much higher than the rest of humanity. There's rocket scientists that can't paint a picture like I can. You see what I'm saying? So it's all about skills and what your interests are. But there's people who work making the robots that are going to even take their jobs, okay? And these people are they're not dummies, but they're not rocket scientists either. You feel me? They're like they're common laborer folk with basic knowledge of how things go. They're technically savvy enough to understand if you give them a clear set of rules, this is their job on the line of the assembly line or the whatever. They do that, and man, oh my gosh, as I'm saying this, I'm just bugging out about how real everything I'm saying really is, and how it's already been said in the brilliant minds of so many, the collective consciousness, as I always say it is. In humanity, we have a collective consciousness for those of us who are woke, true woke, okay? But the movie Elysium, which I own a copy of, I got it at the dollar store, not dollar store, I got it at the Goodwill, and was so happy when I saw it. I was like, oh, I love this movie. I'd seen it only one time, and I remember when I rewatched it, I was like, yep, it's still just as good as it was the first time. It's a really good movie. And, you got my guy from Born Identity, I'm getting the name right now, but him, he's the star. And it's in this future where he works at a factory making the robots that harass him every day. Like, the damn policing robots of this slum world of the future that he lives in is he literally works for the factory where these robots are going to have him hemmed up. And I won't give away the plot to anybody who hasn't seen the movie, because it's really good if you want to see it. But I'm just saying, like, that right there is what I mean. Like, he wasn't a rocket scientist, but he was smart enough definitely street savvy enough. He had been like they had gave him a history. He used to be a carjacker and stuff, but he don't do that no more. You know, he don't steal cars and stuff. He got himself straight. He was a product of environment, so to speak, and got better. But in getting better, in some ways, his life, in many ways, his life got worse because he had no integrity. He had nothing to feel like he was standing on his own too, as a real solid man that he was, because he's working for this effed up corporate entity that is literally pimping everybody. They don't care nothing about your physical health. He found that out in the worst way, and I won't give away the worst scene in the movie. And then he decides, bump it. I'm gonna go back to the underworld, but this time from a higher purpose. It's gonna be more like the Robin Hood level. So he teams up with this guy that, again, I'm not gonna give away all the plot, but there's a group of rebels, okay, that were trying to buck the system, and they were helping people to, wait a minute, which one is the, I guess this is it. Yep, this is it. They were helping people to escape that poverty and get to this Elysium, this place in the sky that was sitting above everybody else down here on the ground. And it's crazy because it's like always that kind of story. I mean, it's been that kind of story for years, to the point you start feeling like, yeah, they're literally doing that. They already have done that in some ways. There are places on this earth that are just for the elite, and they're making it more here, y'all. So yeah, so basically you see it in so many movies. You see it in so many movies and plots. And it's the same symbolism. I mean, all the way back to the 70s, Logan's Run, all these great movies. These are all great movies. You know, Logan's Run, and oh my gosh, what's that joint? Soylent Green, I think that was the name of it. That one really deep. You know, Fahrenheit, whatchamacallit, I forget the numbers. You know, all these great movies and concepts and stuff and what they're really about. And it's like, in many ways, people are headed to their own demise. Like they just, like, I'm starting to really feel like, yeah, some folks really do want to live out the movies. They think that's, but it's, you got people who are in the trenches who don't think that the trenches will be for them when this reality kicks in. And you're the number one people that Caesar will have in the gladiator pit, like straight up. Like, you are them. Like, for damn, pathetic. But yeah, that's them. They don't want to be no smarter. They don't want to, they want to think they're smarter just because they're hanging out with people who are more cunning and everything. That don't make them no smarter. Okay. And they want to think that they're going to have for their families and stuff. No, man. You just gonna, after you finally die in the gladiator pit, you're gonna put your son and your daughter out there. Come on, Hunger Games. I just go on and on. The Hunger Games, like, golly, it's all the same concepts, genres, different ways of expressing it. Well done, different ways of expressing it, but that's what this shit is. Like, that's what some of these fools are trying to create. And we're literally living through the beginnings of what can establish that in a form of a norm where people don't even think about it. They just, like, they participate or not participate, but have to endure and accept and all this kind of shit because it's become law. Like, I mean, you really want to get raw, The Purge. Man, please. I saw the first Purge and I was like, oh shit. And I waited to see that. I didn't want to see it. I had no interest in seeing it. I knew it would upset me. I knew it would piss me off. I knew it would frustrate me. But when I finally took the time to watch it, I said, oh my gosh. I see why people say this is one of those classic concepts. Because again, based on what could happen if you desensitize. You've easily made violence desensitized. Just life itself is trivial to most people completely. Not just the psychopaths who've been gone that live amongst us. But I'm talking about just completely, like most people just like, yeah, you know, that they're comfortable with that side of their psyche and think it's something that gets turned on and turned off when a government says, okay, it's time for the purge. Y'all can go out and kill each other for a whole day and night. Like, God damn. You know, we're gonna make it that one night. Y'all go on out there and get it in, whatever y'all want to do. The what? Like, yo. But you got some people who are normal. I mean, I feel it in what's happening right now is what I'm talking about. The fact that there is war going on, and we know there's war going on, but there's always war going on. But the difference is it's more weekly, monthly, in your face, being reported. See, it's different when the news is selective and the major news outlets aren't repeating. They may mention something, but they don't repeat it daily. Okay? Or we know there's conflicts in this place, that country, this country. Yeah, but when you don't have to see the smoke, when you don't have to see the crying children, the rubble, the result, see, that's what makes people react. Even when they're playing this game they're playing right now, they're not showing everything I've seen. Nothing's showing really on the ground stuff. It's all smoking buildings and things like that. See, that's just, see, people can dismiss that. They can look at that like, oh, it's like a video game. You know, you bomb something, you don't see any bodies, you don't see any, or if you do, everything's so disfigured, you don't even look at it as, you don't relate it to a real person gone or whatever, or nothing happening. Yeah, you know, it's desensitized. It's desensitization, man. It's desensitized. Folks so desensitized, they don't even know how desensitized they are. To where most of us, like, we just, you know, just want to pick up where we left off on our favorite show, book, video game. Me too. You know, we all trying to escape, man. We don't want to think about all this stuff that stresses you out, or put too much. Because what else comes out of it other than feeling worried, frustrated, anxiety, blah blah blah, right? So everybody's running away from all that all the time, but that don't mean it ain't still there. And that'd be the difference for me. I can at least, I feel like as long as I know it's still there though. Just me not wanting to think about it don't mean it's gone. And that's with any problem in real life. And that's how I've always learned to be, you know? And I think that's just the one thing we gotta do at the same time. Like, no, you don't want to dwell in it, but to keep yourself empathetic to the fact it's happening. And other stuff, and I always kind of say just a general first prayer, like, yo, not only is it happening where you know it's happening where I don't know it's happening. And I'm wishing for the best out of all of it, especially for all the innocent people who have nothing to do with the crisis. That part.